Foundation. Can we highlight first how did it start and the main goals of the foundation?
It is just that on a certain day I exploded from within and became a torrent of ecstatic experience. So naturally, when something very beautiful happens to you, you will want to share.
Yeah.
So I went about doing whatever I could as an individual. Then people here slowly gathered. I never tried to organize anything. Slowly people gathered from tens to hundreds to thousands to millions today.
Yeah.
So as the number increased, a foundation became necessary.
Sure.
There are many things that the foundation is doing today, but fundamentally it is just this, to bring a human being to a higher level of experience, because that's the only guarantee you have in your life. If you are in a state of very pleasant experience, let's say you're feeling wonderful right now, it's guaranteed that you will do wonderful things to other people. You're feeling horrible right now, you can be quite sure most of the time human beings will do horrible things to each other when they are feeling that way.
This is related to the energy, the positive energy?
Not like that. When you're happy, you will treat people well. When you're unhappy, you'll treat people badly, isn't it? So this is a natural consequence. So the best way, if you want to create a beautiful world, is every individual human being should become a joyful human being.
Yeah.
For this, we are approaching this not as a philosophy, but as a science. Everything in the world today, many activities that we perform, we approach it in a scientific manner. But when it comes to inner well-being, we have fanciful philosophies, ideologies, belief systems, various superstitions, all kinds of things. It is time we address inner well-being also scientifically. Scientifically means just this, to make it in such a way that it works for everybody. When we say technologies for well-being, you just have to learn to use it, you don't have to believe it. You have a phone, you don't have to believe in the phone, you just have to learn to use it. Just like that, you have to learn to use it so that this one becomes blissful by its own nature. So, foundation is just a legal facility to do that.
How do we do this? If we want to give tips, few tips for everyone watching, how can we do this?
One thing is, if you don't mess your mind, you will be blissful. But now you'll ask me, how do I not mess my mind? You should
Yeah, maybe because of the stress of life, it's not easy for lots not to mess their mind.
Let's come to this. Life is not stressful, only mind is stressful, isn't it? Because the situation that you may go through stressfully, I may go through joyfully. Every day it's happening to everybody, isn't it? Something that one person suffers badly, another person may go through it very easily. So it is not a question of life. Yes, life has its situations, no question about that. But suffering does not happen because of life. Physical obstacles may happen because of life, difficulties may come in in doing activities, but stress essentially happens because there is friction in your mind. If your thought and emotion, if your thought and your emotion took instructions from you, that is, your thought and emotion happened just the way you want it, would you keep yourself blissful or stressful?
Blissful. Okay, empowerment of women is a very important angle that we would like to highlight with you. You consider this age as the age of women. Can we elaborate this more, and how do you see her role?
See, I don't want to attach too much importance to gender differences. Human beings should be treated as human beings. This man-woman thing matters only in certain aspects of life. Why should it matter to you whether somebody is a man or a woman in most aspects of life? Only in certain aspects of life, being a man or a woman matters. Rest of the time, why can't we just look at human beings as human beings?
Yeah.
When we say gender, this may be a little sensitive for people to understand. When we say a man or a woman, what we are doing is, we are identifying a person with their reproductive organs, which is not necessary all the time. In some places, in certain situations, in certain relationships, it's necessary. Rest of the time, there is no need to identify a human being with reproductive organs. If at all, if you must identify with some body part, it must be at least the brain, not the other aspects of the body.
Yeah, but recently women are having an important role that they didn't used to have in the past years.
Not true. Our mothers were women. They had the most important role of producing us. We are here only because of her.
Yeah.
So, but that was not important, it was most important. Today we are thinking economic activity is the only important thing, which is unfortunate. And now she is finding a role in the economic activity also. But economic activity is not the most important thing in the world. It is important, but the most important thing is human beings are full and happy and joyful within themselves. The experience of human life is full. For a very, very long time, human experience in a man's life or in a family's life is largely full because of a woman for a very long time. So it's not now that she has an important role, she always had. Maybe people did not recognize it.
Okay. Talking about women before moving to another angle, I wanted to ask you about Malala Yousafzai. Definitely you know her story. How do you see her struggling and fighting terrorism as a character, not to mention the gender?
So this is an unfortunate reality. In certain parts of the world, they don't want women to get educated because that's a way of controlling them and whatever. Malala is one of the lucky ones where the bullet went through her head and she still lived. Many, they got the bullet and they never lived. And they never got the fame and the opportunity that she got. So she's become an iconic presence in a way for women's education, the girl child's education, which is, I think, world needs some iconic figures, otherwise people don't understand. I think a whole lot of people, man or woman, are identifying themselves with her struggles and how she's come out of it. Above all, her strength and her grit to express what she wants to at an age where most people would be not capable of doing that, or they wouldn't even think of that. At the age of 12, 13, that girl stood up like a great leader and she spoke. So, such iconic characters or personalities are very much necessary in the world. And unfortunately, though none of us could be born without our mothers, we have treated them badly for a variety of reasons. And we must understand this. This is mainly not just about being a woman or a child or somebody else. We have gotten into this mode. Anybody who's little physically weaker than us, we want to thrash them. It's not necessarily a woman, anything. People beat their children, people beat their women, people beat those people who are weaker than them. If this has to go, a human being has to become much more complete and evolved within himself and herself, both ways. Because this is not… I don't see this as a gender issue. This is a serious issue of humanity, that we always pick on somebody who is weaker than us and try to dominate them or crush them. This is not just about women, this happens to children, this happens to men, this happens to everybody. But women probably taking the brunt of it.
Okay, you look for happiness, we look for happiness outside, as per you, nice cars, luxurious houses. How shall we make use, talking about this, of Sheikh Mohammed's named and for the first time in region First Minister of State for Happiness, which is part of the biggest shake-up of the federal government in its history. How important is this initiative going along with your perceiveness of such a thing? happiness?
I just met the happiness minister. It is wonderful that the rulers of states and nations, it's also happening in India now. First it happened in Bhutan and now everybody is picking it up everywhere. It's good that leaders of nations and states are beginning to think in terms of bringing happiness to the people. How far it'll go, what'll happen is not the point. The point is they're thinking about it. That itself is a great thing. So it's a wonderful possibility. I had a wonderful meeting with the minister and they want to implement certain things. See, the thing is like this. Happiness will never happen because of social situations. Happiness will happen because of your inner situation. It is an inner state, it's an ambience within you. But outside support is needed for most human beings. I may be able to be happy in any kind of situation, that's my problem. But most other people need an atmosphere which supports them. When we say an atmosphere which supports them, one important aspect is, for any society or a nation to function, there are many rules. Let's say we want to drive on the street. In Dubai, you must drive on the right side of the street. Suppose I think I am a free human being and I drive wherever I want. When I do it, it looks like fun for me. If 3 more people join with me, it looks like a revolution. But if everybody breaks the rule, it'll be a chaos.
Yeah, sure.
So we need to create a place where people understand rules are not restrictions. Rules are a way so that you and me can walk in this corridor without smashing into each other. You walk this way, I walk this way.
It's about us to follow the rules. Why we do here, for example, we Lebanese people, and we never do it in Lebanon.
You're telling me I'm Indian, yeah?
Yeah, I know. The question is, it has to do with me or with the rules of the country.
That is what. See, if any game you want to play, there needs to be rules. No rules means there'll be no game.
We have these rules.
We have, but I'm saying, if you want to play football, you're not supposed to touch the ball with your hand. If you insist, I will carry it in my hand and run away, it will not be football. So, if you have to drive on the street, certain rules. If you don't want to follow it, there won't be road and traffic, there will be chaos and anarchy. So, as I said, if one person breaks the rule, it looks like fun. 3-4 people, they think they're revolutionaries.
Revolution, yeah.
When everybody breaks it, it'll be anarchy, totally.
This is Lebanon. Okay. Happiness, efforts, commitments, we cannot but mention here, talking about this, responsibility. What is responsibility?
See, responsibility simply means your ability to respond. If I say I'm responsible for you, I will respond to whatever is your need right now. If I think I'm not responsible for you, even if you're dying, I will sit here and watch. Or in other words, responsibility is the fundamental of your humanity. If you don't have any sense of responsibility, you will become inhuman.
Maybe I'm not capable.
Maybe you're not capable of action, but you're capable of…
feeling.
Ability to respond, isn't it? See, responding to something means in so many ways you can respond. If you have a child, are you responsible for your child? For sure, isn't it?
Sure.
Can you do everything for the child? Can you do everything?
No.
Nobody can do everything. Whatever you can do, you will do. The same goes, if you see you're responsible for me, you can't do everything for me, you will do whatever you can do.
Yeah.
The same goes for the city, the same goes for the country. Whatever you can do, you will do. In our lives, we must understand this. In our lives, if we do not do what we cannot do, there is no problem. But if we do not do what we can do, we are a disastrous life. So the moment you think I'm not responsible, this disaster will begin. Even what you can do, you will not do.
what can I do in this quick life we're living, more than before definitely, 100 times? How can I live peacefully?
There are many ways to look at it. As I said earlier, if you had a chemistry of peacefulness within you, if you created a peaceful chemistry, why would you ask this question to me?
If I created?
If you create. This is a chemical factory, isn't it? The most sophisticated chemical factory. If you become the CEO of this factory and take charge of it and create a peaceful chemistry, why would you ask me this question, how to be peaceful?
For the audience.
Even for them, I'm saying.
Okay. No, really, can we have very clear, practical tips for a person who's really inspired by you, but maybe he might feel no, it's not that easy to feel that thing? Maybe because it should be, it should go along with lots of things, yoga, meditation, healthy lifestyle.
If you are willing to invest 30 hours of focused time, one time, okay, in your life, 30 hours of focused time and daily 21 minutes if you invest, we can make this happen for you. But right now people think you want tips like that, or people want tips.
Yes.
Because to learn ABC, they took many years, right? Alphabets, 26 alphabets. But learning to live peacefully and joyfully, they want it in 2 minutes. This means clearly you're not interested in the well-being of your life. If you are interested in the well-being of your life, if you understand, if you are not even peaceful and joyful, you cannot enjoy the food that you eat. You cannot enjoy the family that you live with. You cannot enjoy the work that you do. You cannot enjoy the world in which you're living. For this, are you not willing to invest a little bit of time? You want tips? Tips won't work. There is a process, there is a method. Yeah. If you learn the method, definitely it'll work. It's worked for millions and millions of people.
Yeah, we should learn the method. Maybe it has to do with culture. We don't have this in our culture, focusing on our inner happiness, on the spiritual things, right?
Unfortunately, most parts of the world have ignored this, for which they are paying a severe price. In terms of comfort and convenience that we have, as a generation of people, you and me, are enjoying things that no generation ever knew, isn't it? Yes or no?
I don't know.
Did any other generation have the kind of comforts and convenience that you and me have today?
It depends.
To come from Beirut to Dubai, how long do you take?
Maybe they were happier.
That's not the point. Comforts and convenience, I'm asking. You have the highest level of comfort and convenience compared to anybody else ever in the history of humanity. But you're complaining about that also.
But not all the people have this comfort that we're having.
No. If anybody on the planet, compared to anybody else on the planet 100 years ago or 200 years ago, they have better comforts. Even the poorest.
Exactly, that's what I meant, the poorest, they are not capable to enjoy this comfort.
No, I'm saying even the poorest of today, compared to the poorest of 500 years ago, you're a little better off today.
That's right. Okay, you mentioned 21 minutes per day, right?
Yes.
To meditate?
See, the English words, meditation, this, that doesn't mean anything. There is an internal process where you take charge of your system. That what happens from within is in your hands. Right now it's like this. If you want to be happy, something needs to happen from outside. What this means is, for what needs to happen within you, you need an external stimulus. This means your peace, your joy, your love, all these things are on push start. You know the old cars? You have to push them to start. You still have them in Lebanon.
We used to have one.
You still
in Lebanon.
But now, all the cars are self-start. I'm saying, is it not important that you upgrade your technology that your peacefulness, your joyfulness, your loving nature is on self-start, that you can be just like that by yourself, you don't need anybody to push you. I'm talking about upgrading technologies.
Yeah. And to look into happiness from inside, not to wait something…
Tell me, does it happen from inside or outside for you?
It should happen.
No.
From inside.
When you feel happy, does it come from inside or does it come from outside?
It comes from inside because of the outside.
That's what I'm saying. It comes from inside, but there is an outside stimulus.
Yeah.
I'm saying, anyway it comes from inside. If I teach you a way that you can create an internal stimulus, that you can cause it yourself, you don't need anything from outside, would you be more complete human being?
I don't know.
If you're a joyful human being, would you not be a more complete human being?
More complete?
Yes. See, if you're joyful by yourself, by your own nature, then you have no fear of suffering. Once there is no fear of suffering, only when there is no fear of suffering, you will walk your life full stride. You will want to explore every dimension of life. When you have fear of suffering, you will avoid life. You will not explore life.
Yeah, that's right, but can we avoid fear of suffering?
If there is no possibility of suffering, where will be the fear of suffering?
There is always possibility of suffering.
How?
Through everything.
Suffering happens from within you, isn't it?
Yeah, it will happen. If anyone from your family might have a disease, if someone dies, there are lots of factors.
If somebody has a disease in the family, already they are suffering. If you also suffer, are you creating a solution or are you adding to the problem?
Definitely no. I should be strong to help the suffering person, right? But this will always mean and will not avoid my feeling suffering.
That is because both your joy and misery is being stimulated from outside. If you take charge of the system, you can create what you want from within. Outside, what best we can do, we will do. What we cannot do, we do not do, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you think a few people are not even looking for happiness?
They're given up. They think misery is the way of life. It's not true. Everybody, at least when they were 5–6 years of age, they were joyful by their own nature, isn't it? At 5 years, if you were so joyful, by the time you're 30, you should have been ecstatic.
Yeah.
But the reverse has happened.
Maybe they're so busy. We have this definitely wrong issue.
If they have nothing to do also, they'll become miserable.
Yeah. I think we should always ask ourselves, how important is this? Am I happy? And what to do to be happy?
It is not like happiness is a goal. It is an ambience that is necessary for you to participate in life.
Yeah.
Only when you're happy, I can ask you, come, let's have dinner. I can ask you, come, dance. I can ask you, come and go do this work, isn't it? When you're unhappy, can we drag you?
Sure not.
Nobody is willing to do anything when they're depressed, isn't it? Only when they're joyful, they're ready for life. So happiness or joy is not the goal of life. It is a fundamental requirement. Without it, you can't participate in life, isn't it?
Yeah. We'll have a break for a few seconds and we'll be back. فاصل قصير مشاهدينا ونعود. أهلا بكم من جديد. نتابع هذا اللقاء الخاص مع سادجورو. We make our lives, as per you, rich by enriching others' lives. Can we explain a bit, how can I do that?
See, when it comes to human activity, anything that we do, suppose you cook something, would you like to cook something that nobody wants to eat? Suppose you write a book, would you want to write a book that nobody wants to read? Now you're making a television thing, would you like to make a television show that nobody wants to see? In some way you want to touch another life, isn't it? The purpose of human activity is just this, in some way you want to touch another life. You can call this family, you can call this society, you can call this nation, but the effort is to touch another life as profoundly as possible. So if you get an opportunity to touch another life very profoundly, your life definitely gets enriched because that's what you're always looking for.
Yeah.
People may not be conscious about it, but would they like to do something physically which nobody appreciates, nobody enjoys? They always want to create something that everybody enjoys, isn't it?
Yeah. So we should do this from inside because lots of us do it as duty, right?
There is no duty in this world. If you can do something joyfully, you must do it. If you cannot, it's better you not do it, somebody else will do it better.
Lots of women cook only as a duty, right? They would always prefer not to do this.
That's why men die so quickly.
Okay, here we'll talk also about the importance of being conscious that always my actions affect the rest of people. And I have a question before I forgot. You said to feel happy and to know the importance of our lives, I should always be conscious of mortality. I want to talk more about this.
It is true that all of us will die one day, yes?
Yes.
I'll bless you with a long life, but you will die one day. You're making a sad face. It's
Yeah.
a relief for the world that we will die one day.
For the world, yeah.
For you also.
No, I don't want to
Suppose
die.
you're here for 10,000 years, what will you do?
I have lots of things to do, interviews, lots of things to do.
So, the nature of life is such that it begins and it ends. What we call as life is just a certain amount of time and energy. Time is always rolling. We cannot enhance time. The same for all of us. 1 minute is 1 minute for all of us, 1 day is 1 day for all of us. It is rolling at the same time. For me also it ends at the same time, you also ends at the same time, for anybody it ends at the same time. But you can enhance your energy in such a way that what somebody does in 10 days, you can do it in 1 day. If that happens, if you live for 100 years, you lived for 1,000 years in terms of activity and what you can do and cannot do. So, why mortality is important is, only when you realize that you're mortal will you become conscious. Otherwise you live a completely unconscious life. Suppose somebody is told, tomorrow morning you will die, you will see he will become super alive and very, very conscious. But somebody thinks, other people die, not me. Now they can live unconsciously. So for consciousness, for one to become conscious, one important element is to be conscious that I am mortal, I am a limited amount of time. When I know this consciously, if you think about it once in a way, it creates fear. If you're consciously aware of… if you're constantly aware of it every moment of your life, you will see your life gets heightened. If you know it's a limited amount of time, you wouldn't want to waste one moment doing something that doesn't matter to you, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a brief amount of time. Right now people are doing all kinds of silly things in their life, rubbish in their life, simply because they're not conscious that it's a limited amount of time. They think they're going to be here forever.
Maybe these are the things they would like to do in this life.
It's not like that. If you knew that tomorrow morning you will die, would you have time to quarrel with somebody?
Sure.
Would you have time to make yourself unpleasant?
I will definitely be unpleasant, knowing that I will die
That's
tomorrow.
because of fear.
Dying tomorrow. Shall I smile?
Don't… if you're going to die, it's better to die smiling. And anyway, I'm giving you 24 hours time. Life has never given you a guarantee of 24 hours time,
Sure.
isn't it? Say, I'm guaranteeing 24 hours for you. Tomorrow I'm saying, not today. But Did life and creation ever give you 24 hours guarantee?
No.
No. So we are mortal.
Only the fridge.
Huh?
It's for a few months even. Fridge, they give us the guarantee for fridge. Gas.
Refrigerators, cameras, cell phones have guarantees.
Yes.
Human life has no guarantee. If we understand this, we will make best use of the little time that we have.
Okay, how do I make use of the little time I have? What is my role in life?
So the role of life is to be full-fledged life. Whether an insect or a bird or an animal or a tree, all it is trying is to become a full-fledged life. But the problem is, we know what is a full-fledged worm, but we don't know what is a full-fledged human being. Whatever you become, still there is a longing, you want to become something more.
Sure.
If that happens, something more and something more and something more, because still it's not clear to you what is a full-fledged human being. Whatever you become, still longing to become something more continues. So if you observe this longing carefully, you will see that what you want to become is not more, you want to become all. Your goal is infinite, but the method that you're employing is so limited. That's why all the frustrations and struggles. So when we say yoga, when we say spiritual process, what we are talking about is to understand that physically you can never become unlimited. But there is a dimension within you, beyond physical nature, which is always unlimited. What I mean by this is, when we say physical, our physical body is something that we gathered over a period of time, isn't it? We were not born like this. We slowly gathered. How?
Yeah.
Pita bread, food that we eat, isn't it? The food that we eat slowly gathered and became like this. Now, what you gather, whatever you gather, you can say it is mine. But if you say it's me, there is a problem. Now, I'm sitting on this chair. If I say this is my chair, all right. But after sitting here for a long time, if I say this is me, madness or no?
Yeah.
That's all that's happened. You gathered this body, it is yours. But if you say it's me, this is called madness. Because everybody is in the same madness, it seems to be all right.
Like driving in the streets. It's a very critical stage between wanting more and more always, the point that you mentioned, you just mentioned, and not stopping being ambitious. How can we do that?
Either you can live with a constipated ambition, or you can live with a larger vision. That's a choice every individual has. What you think is ambition looks big only when people around you are aspiring for something less. You may be very ambitious in one community, but if you go to another place, your ambition may be nothing.
Yeah.
So ambition is only a social thing, relative thing. When people around you are doing smaller things than you, if you think of doing one step more, they think you are ambitious. But if your ambition is fulfilled tomorrow morning,
I'll have a new one.
Yes.
It will not
So you are going in installments. Towards what? You are going in installments towards infinity. You cannot get to infinity in installments.
But this is life.
There is another kind of life, I'm saying.
Yeah.
That is, either you can do it in a way it doesn't work, or you can do it in a way it works. Some people do it in a way it works, lot of people are doing it in a way it doesn't work. If you approach infinity in installments, will you ever get there? Can you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and one day say infinity? Is it possible? You will only become endless counting. Such endless counting, after some time you don't know why you're counting. What you're looking for is a boundless expansion, because you cannot stop human aspiration at a certain point. It wants everything. If you want everything, you cannot have it physically. When you realize this, you will start looking for other dimensions of life. That dimension of life, unfortunately, is described by a very badly distorted word called spirituality. Spirituality does not mean looking up or looking down, it is about looking inward. This body has been created from inside, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that which creates this is not physical in nature. So when you touch a dimension which is beyond physical nature, we say spiritual process. If you touch that dimension, that which is not physical has no boundaries.
So this is physical nature. I create a few stuff like the weight, right?
Right?
Yeah, we
What?
all have the same physical nature when we create what inside.
The physical body was created from inside, all right?
Yeah,
Slowly happened. When you were little, it was this much, now it's become this much.
sure.
So you gathered this. Physical body and physical aspects of life are always made by boundaries. But there is something inside of you which always wants to break boundaries. So that means there is something within you which is beyond physical nature. If you experience that dimension which is beyond physical nature, because your physical is only gathered aspect,
Yeah.
acquired aspect. So if you experience that dimension, that is naturally without boundaries, that is naturally infinite. If you experience that, then in your activity you will do what is needed. You will not be in a compulsive mode of activity, you will come to your conscious mode of activity.
How do you spend your day?
I don't spend it, it just goes away.
How do you start it? How do you start your day? How do you spend it?
With the sunrise.
Yeah, then?
Every day I'm in a new place, almost every day. In the last 7 days I've been in 9 cities, doing over 15 events, okay? So, I don't start it, it gets started and gets over before I know what's happening.
You wake up very early, right? How many hours do we need to sleep?
On an average, I sleep anywhere between 2.5 to 3.5 hours,
Every day.
if I get to sleep.
Why? Do you do that on purpose or you just
No, there's
don't
no
sleep?
time. But anyway, I'll wake up, if I sleep also, I'll wake up within 3 hours. Sleep is not a necessity. What the body needs is restfulness. If you keep it in a restful way, if there's no stress in this, you will see the need for sleep will come down. What sleep means is, suppose you have a car which needs in a month 10 days of service. Is this a good car?
No?
It's a nuisance, isn't it? 1 day of service, okay. 10 days of service, not good. In 30 days, 10 days means 1/3. In 24 hours, 8 hours means 1/3, isn't
Yeah.
it? If you're sleeping 8 hours a day, it is like having a car which needs service 10 hours, 10 days in a month. This will become a nuisance after some time. There is a way to keep this body where it'll ask for very little maintenance. Very low maintenance I am.
We need 8 hours per day, that's what we're used to, right?
Who is saying this?
Everyone.
I'm not saying this.
I
Why do you say
know.
everyone?
Except you.
Not except me, there are whole thousands of people around me who all sleep an average of 4 to 5 hours a day. They're all active, 18, 20 hours a day, 7 days of the week, because they don't find activity stressful. They're not looking in terms of, thank God it's Friday. No, every day is fine.
Okay, someone who works in construction, let's say, for 9 hours per day, can he sleep only for 2 or 3 hours?
You must come and see our construction teams. We do things in a miraculous level of time. 3 shifts, everybody works, okay? Day and night. You're talking about somebody who works physically. That person may need little more sleep. Definitely, he needs… Even if I go trek in the mountains, very hard trekking, on that day I may sleep little more. See, sleep is not to be prescribed. Sleep is according to the needs of the body. Food and sleep should be according to the needs of your body today. There's no common prescription, every day you must eat so much, every day you must sleep so much, there is no such thing. This day, according to its activity and the requirement, accordingly we must eat, accordingly we must rest, isn't it?
So whatever I need. You're vegetarian, right?
I think I got flesh. Do I
Yes,
look like a
you've
vegetable?
You are, right?
By choice, not by… It's not like a taboo for me. By choice, generally yes.
Yeah. What do you want people to learn from you? You're inspiring millions of people now, all over the world.
As I told you in the beginning, I exploded into ecstasy. I'm just trying to rub it off on them, that's all.
Okay, last word to everyone watching you.
See, in human life, there's so many things that will happen to us. So many things. Not all of it, many times, or the way we want it. What is around us may happen the way we want it, may not happen the way we want it. For nobody in this world it ever happens 100% the way they want it. Nothing in the world happens 100% your way. Nobody in the world happens 100% your way. Nobody in your life. But this one person must happen your way, isn't it?
Sure.
If you do this one thing, that you are just the way you want yourself to be, would you keep yourself blissful or miserable? Definitely blissful. If you're blissful, if you're very blissful right now, anything that's needed, would you just run and do it or no? Whatever you could do in your life, everything you will do. This is how a human being should live, full potential. But if you yourself are an issue, your own thought, your own emotion is a big issue, then you will not have the courage to take up any issue in your life. So this simple thing you must do to yourself, that is, you are never a problem in your life. Other problems come, we'll handle it to the best of our ability. But you are not the problem. This much you must do, every one of you, isn't it? Yeah. That you are never the problem of your life. Right now, even if you sit alone, you go crazy, because you are the problem. If others are there, at least you have an excuse. But when you're alone, if you're miserable, obviously you're in bad company. You have to change that company, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us. شكرا لكم مشاهدينا على متابعة هذا اللقاء الخاص.
شكرا.
مرحبا أيها البشر، وإن لم تكن منهم فمرحبا بك أيضا. الهدف من القناة زيادة الوعي والإدراك لدى الجميع مجانا، وبنشر الفيديو مع أصدقائك لتنير طريقهم نحو النجاح، وبدعم قناتنا على اليوتيوب بالضغط على زر الاشتراك وزر الجرس ليصلك كل جديد.